Most people think Atlanta's black wealth lives on TV screens, rappers, celebrities, and reality stars flashing it for the internet. But what if the real money never posts, never trends, and rarely moves? You heard it right. We're diving into the richest neighborhoods in Atlanta, where black wealth is quietly compounding. And trust me, the place coming in at number 1 will prove why Atlanta is called the Black Mecca. Number 10. Union City, Georgia, the quiet entry point. Everyone misses. Union City feels like the place you move to before life really takes off. And that's precisely why it matters. Sitting in South Fulton, just minutes from the world's busiest airport, this suburb has become a landing pad for young black professionals who are playing the long game instead of chasing instant flexes. On paper, the numbers look modest. Median household income floats between $47,000 and $60,000, but married households regularly break into 6 figures, sometimes even climbing past $110,000. The city is over 85% black, and home ownership is pushing upward toward the 50% mark, rising faster each year. Homes that once flew under the radar now sit comfortably between $250,000 and $350,000, with appreciation strong enough to make latecomers nervous. What's powering this shift isn't hype, it's proximity and practicality. Hartsfield-Jackson isn't just nearby, it's a massive employer. Pilots, flight operations staff, logistics managers, supply chain analysts, and healthcare professionals from nearby hospitals all clock in, drive home, and quietly build equity. These aren't boom or bust careers. They're steady, upward trending lanes that reward patience. Union City's lifestyle reflects that stage of life. New townhomes, family parks, school events, and community gatherings dominate the rhythm here. You'll find nurses comparing shift schedules, mid-level executives discussing interest rates, and first-time homeowners learning the joy and pain of yard maintenance. It's not glamorous, but it's intentional. And if this feels familiar, it should. Because this is exactly what Cedar Hill, Texas looked like before prices skyrocketed and outsiders started asking how they missed it. Union City, however, is still early, still accessible, and still forming its identity. And while this suburb represents the starting line, the next place on our list shows what happens when black professionals settle in, invest in education, and quietly build something lasting. Number 9. Stone Mountain, Georgia, where education did the heavy lifting. Stone Mountain gets talked about a lot, just not for the right reasons. Look past the outdated stereotypes, and you'll find black pockets of this eastern DeKalb suburb quietly thriving on something far more powerful than hype: education and stability. In these neighborhoods, black household median income sits around $107,000. More than half the residents hold college degrees, and homeownership stays solidly above 50%. Housing prices still offer a range, from the low $200,000 up to $400,000. But appreciation has been steady, almost stubbornly so. Nothing flashy, just consistent growth. But here's the kicker. None of it happened overnight. After World War II, black teachers, engineers, administrators, and public sector professionals began planting roots in this area. They came for space, stayed for schools, and raised families with an eye on long-term security rather than short-term shine. And over time, that professional base created a self-reinforcing cycle. Strong schools, stable property values, and neighborhoods that age gracefully. Daily life here moves at a confident pace. Tree-lined streets, well-maintained ranch homes, black-owned restaurants that locals swear by. Stone Mountain Park adds an underrated layer of luxury. Trails, open space, and room to breathe without leaving the neighborhood. It's the kind of amenity that doesn't photograph well for social media, but makes everyday life better. Stone Mountain's black pockets reflect a community that understands wealth as something you live with, not something you perform. And while this neighborhood shows how education quietly compounds over generations, the next place takes a bolder step, blending global black ambition with political control and fresh opportunity. Number 8. Stonecrest, Georgia. Built by the diaspora, run by the community. Stonecrest doesn't feel accidental. Incorporated in 2016 as Georgia's first majority Black city, it represents a rare moment where Black residents didn't just grow prosperous, they gained the power to steer their own future. Household incomes here typically land between $70,000 and $90,000, with home ownership above 60%. The housing market tells the deeper story. While many homes still sit in the $300,000 to $500,000 range, sprawling estates now climb past $1 million, and some push well beyond that. These aren't speculative flips. They're family compounds built with intention. A big part of Stonecrest's energy comes from the diaspora. Caribbean and African immigrant families make up a strong presence, bringing entrepreneurial instincts, a deep respect for education, and a long view of wealth. Government professionals, healthcare leaders, tech workers, logistics executives, and business owners all overlap here, creating a community that feels globally Black rather than regionally boxed in. The lifestyle matters here as well. Arabia Mountains trails offer a natural escape, while strong schools and cultural festivals anchor community life. Homes are designed for generations instead of trends. Relationships matter. Networks matter. And city incorporation ensured that development finally aligned with residents instead of outside interests. In short, Stonecrest doesn't chase validation from Atlanta proper. It builds steadily, deliberately, and with leverage. Political control, rising property values, and cultural cohesion give it weight well beyond its age as a city. But if Stonecrest shows what happens when Black communities control the blueprint, the next neighborhood takes us into a very different arena, where Black wealth steps directly into elite suburban territory and holds its ground there. Number 7. Johns Creek, affluent Black enclaves, Georgia. When excellence becomes the address. Johns Creek doesn't advertise itself as a Black wealth hub, and that's part of the appeal. This North Fulton suburb sits comfortably in Atlanta's elite tier, known for top-ranked schools, corporate campuses, and manicured neighborhoods where success blends in instead of standing out. Over the last decade, a select but powerful group of Black families has moved in, not by accident, but by design. The numbers confirm the strategy. Median household income clears $120,000 with ease. Home ownership sits north of 70%. And housing here plays in a different league altogether. $600,000 is often the starting point, with gated estates pushing well past $1.5 million. These aren't speculative buyers or short-term movers. These are families planting flags. The wealth engine in Johns Creek is deeply professional. Engineers tied to Atlanta's expanding tech ecosystem. Surgeons and specialists affiliated with top healthcare systems. Corporate executives who no longer need to be close to downtown because their leverage travels with them. School districts matter here, a lot. Many relocations begin with one question: where will my kids have the strongest runway? Johns Creek answers that clearly. Life here is intentionally understated. Country clubs double as networking spaces. Tech parks hum quietly during the day. Even luxury feels muted. No excess, just quality. Gated developments, cul-de-sacs, and long-term neighbors create a sense of stability that's hard to replicate elsewhere in the metro. What makes Johns Creek particularly fascinating is what it represents. This is modern Black wealth choosing excellence over proximity, outcomes over optics. It's not about being close to the culture. It's about building something durable enough that culture follows later. Next up, we have a neighborhood that reminds us where Atlanta's Black wealth story truly began. Long before gated entrances and A-plus school rankings were even on the table. Number 6. Collier Heights, Georgia. The neighborhood that wrote the blueprint. Before Atlanta was branded a Black Mecca, Collier Heights quietly laid the foundation. Perched on the city's west side, this neighborhood wasn't just another place Black families moved into. It was intentionally designed, planned, and built as an upscale Black community at a time when that idea itself was radical. Collier Heights remains over 90% Black today, with homeownership holding steady above 60%. Historic brick homes now trade between $400,000 and $800,000, and values continue to climb as preservation efforts protect the neighborhood's character. But the real wealth here isn't just financial. It's historical. This community was built by Black doctors, lawyers, educators, and executives who wanted more than access. They wanted ownership, dignity, and permanence. Figures like Martin Luther King Sr. and legendary developer Herman J. Russell weren't just names tied to the area. They were part of the ecosystem that made it thrive. In 2009, Collier Heights earned its place on the National Register of Historic Places, officially recognizing what residents had always known. Daily life reflects that legacy. Sturdy brick ranches line hilltop streets with skyline views. Churches double as civic anchors. Neighborhood associations take preservation seriously, guarding against careless development while welcoming thoughtful renewal. Pride here doesn't shout. It endures. Collier Heights' significance increases so much more because it proved something early on. When Black professionals control planning, land, and vision, wealth compounds across generations. Nearly every affluent Black enclave in Atlanta owes something to the precedent set here. And yet, if Collier Heights represents the blueprint, the next neighborhood shows what happens when that blueprint matures, combining legacy wealth with political influence and real city-shaping power. Number 5. Cascade Heights, Georgia. Where legacy turned into leverage. Cascade Heights isn't just a neighborhood, it's an institution. Located in southwest Atlanta, this enclave has long been synonymous with Black success, influence, and staying power. By the time many other areas were still finding their footing, Cascade Heights had already established itself as a place where Black professionals didn't just live well, they led. Today, the area remains roughly 95% Black, with homeownership above 65%. Homes range from $500,000 to well over $1 million, many sitting on oversized lots that feel almost suburban, despite being firmly inside the city. Custom builds, renovations, and quiet upgrades are common. Wealth here evolves. It doesn't relocate. The rise of Cascade Heights traces back to the 1970s, when Black physicians, attorneys, and corporate executives moved in en masse. As white flight drained other parts of the city, Cascade Heights held its ground. Not by chance, but through collective economic strength and community resolve. Politics plays a role as well. This neighborhood has produced and housed mayors, city council members, judges, and policy influencers. Power circulates here, informally at cookouts, formally in boardrooms. That concentration of leadership created something rare, a community that could protect itself. Lifestyle in Cascade Heights balances prestige with familiarity. Large lawns, backyard barbecues, and long-standing neighbor relationships coexist with access to parks and the expanding Beltline. It's comfortable without being complacent. Cascade Heights shows what legacy looks like when it refuses to fade. But just south of here, another community takes the concept of Black affluence even further, adding gates, golf courses, and a level of exclusivity that signals a very different chapter of Atlanta's wealth story. Number 4. Eagles Landing, Stockbridge, Georgia, where Black wealth goes gated. Eagles Landing doesn't announce itself from the highway. You don't stumble into it. You arrive intentionally, usually past a gate, a guardhouse, and a long stretch of manicured calm that feels worlds away from Metro Atlanta's sprawl. This is Henry County's most elite Black stronghold, and it operates on a simple principle: privacy first, everything else second. The wealth here is unmistakable. Six-figure household incomes are standard. Homes start comfortably in the $500,000 range and stretch well into the multi-million-dollar tier, especially for properties hugging the golf course or tucked deeper into the gated sections. The Tom Fazio-designed championship golf course isn't just an amenity. It's the neighborhood's social spine. Deals are discussed on fairways. Networks deepen over quiet clubhouse lunches. Status here is understated but fully understood. Eagles Landing attracted a very specific demographic over time: corporate executives commuting into Atlanta, athletes who wanted space without spectacle, entrepreneurs who valued control over visibility. Many residents didn't just buy homes. They bought insulation from chaos. Large lots, long driveways, and architectural separation are part of the appeal. This isn't about showing wealth, it's about protecting it. One of the clearest signals of just how concentrated that wealth became surfaced in 2018, when parts of the area pushed for secession from Stockbridge to form a new city. Regardless of where one stands politically, the attempt itself revealed something important. This community had the tax base, property values, and economic confidence to even consider self-governance. That's a quiet flex most neighborhoods never reach. Life inside Eagles Landing moves at its own pace. Country club amenities replace public parks. Private gatherings replace public events. Even leisure feels curated. Tennis courts, pools, and dining spaces designed for residents who already know each other's last names. Eagles Landing represents a turning point in Atlanta's Black wealth story. The moment when affluence stopped needing validation and started demanding boundaries. But as exclusive as it is, the next stop on our list flips the script entirely. Because the next neighborhood doesn't hide its wealth behind gates, it hides it in plain sight. Number 3. Buckhead, Georgia. Luxury without the spotlight. Buckhead has always been Atlanta's symbol of excess. Mansions, luxury towers, designer storefronts, and power lunches are part of the daily rhythm here. What most people miss is how much Black wealth operates quietly within this landscape, not clustered into one visible enclave, but embedded strategically across it. There is no single Black Buckhead. Instead, there are pockets, discrete streets, select buildings, specific developments, where Black entrepreneurs, athletes, entertainers, and executives own serious real estate without needing to brand it as such. This is wealth that doesn't need banners or community identifiers. It blends seamlessly into Atlanta's most expensive ZIP codes. The money here comes from multiple streams. Some residents made their fortunes through corporate leadership or private equity. Others arrived through entertainment, professional sports, or high-growth entrepreneurship. Real estate itself has become a wealth multiplier, with Black investors owning luxury condos, townhomes, and estates valued anywhere from $1 million to well beyond $5 million. Lifestyle in Buckhead is all about access. Fine dining that doubles as networking space. Elite gyms, private schools, and members-only clubs. High-rise living for those who prefer vertical luxury. Sprawling estates for those who want privacy without leaving the city. It's common for neighbors to be CEOs, franchise owners, surgeons, or athletes, and nobody makes a big deal out of it. What makes Buckhead's Black wealth especially interesting is its discretion. This isn't legacy wealth tied to historic enclaves. It's modern capital choosing proximity to power, commerce, and convenience. It's the kind of wealth that moves fluidly between boardrooms, investment properties, and social circles without ever needing to announce itself. Buckhead proves something important. Black wealth doesn't always gather in one place to be real. Sometimes it integrates, scales, and thrives inside spaces that were never built with it in mind. But if Buckhead represents integration at the top, the next corridor on our list shows what happens when Black professionals choose concentration over visibility, building something stronger through networks instead of noise. Number 2. Cascade Road/Pageland Flats. Corridor, where networks do the heavy lifting. If you want to understand how Black wealth sustains itself in Atlanta, Cascade Road tells the story better than any skyline view ever could. This corridor, stretching through Pageland Flats and surrounding pockets, doesn't chase attention. It compounds influence through relationships, referrals, and long-term ownership. Demographically, the area remains overwhelmingly Black, often exceeding 85%. Home ownership is high, and property values have surged into the $700,000 to $1.5 million range, with custom builds and renovated estates becoming increasingly common. But numbers only tell half the story here. The real engine is professional density. Doctors live next to engineers. Corporate executives live down the street from attorneys and healthcare administrators. These aren't just neighbors. They're referral networks, mentorship pipelines, and investment circles. Children grow up surrounded by examples of stability, discipline, and achievement that feel normal, not exceptional. Architecturally, the corridor blends old and new. Classic ranch homes sit beside modern rebuilds. Long, tree-lined lots offer privacy without isolation. There's a sense of continuity. People don't rush to leave once they arrive. Many families upgrade within the area instead of moving away, keeping wealth circulating locally. Unlike flashier enclaves, Cascade Road's prestige comes from trust. Trust in the schools, trust in neighbors, trust that property values will hold because the people maintaining them are deeply invested in the outcome. It's not uncommon to find homes that have stayed within extended families for decades, quietly appreciating while the city grows around them. This corridor is proof that wealth doesn't always roar. Sometimes it hums steadily, reinforced by shared standards and collective expectations. And that steady hum leads us directly to the crown jewel of our list, the place where Black wealth in Atlanta reaches its most complete, self-assured form. Number 1. Lake Sherwood and elite Southwest Atlanta enclaves, where Black wealth reaches the peak. Lake Sherwood doesn't feel like a neighborhood you move into. It feels like a place you arrive at after decades of doing things right. There's a certain calm that settles in once you cross into this pocket of Southwest Atlanta, the kind that comes from long-term ownership, low turnover, and residents who aren't chasing the next zip code upgrade. This is where Black wealth in Atlanta stops accelerating and starts coasting with confidence. The homes here tell that story immediately. Large, custom-built estates sit back from the road, often framed by mature trees, winding driveways, and lots that feel intentionally oversized by city standards. Prices comfortably start in the high six figures and quietly climb from there. But what's more telling than the valuation is how rarely these homes change hands. Many are multi-generational, passed down, renovated, expanded, and protected rather than flipped. Ownership here isn't speculative. It's strategic. The people who built this enclave didn't arrive overnight. This area drew in federal contractors, senior corporate executives, engineers, healthcare administrators, and logistics leaders. Professionals whose careers matured alongside Atlanta's rise as a national business hub. A large share of the wealth here came through long-term government work, corporate leadership, and disciplined investing rather than windfalls. That kind of money tends to stick around, and Lake Sherwood reflects that stability in every direction. Lifestyle here leans toward privacy and control rather than display. Lakes and green spaces give the neighborhood its name and its rhythm. Morning walks happen without fanfare. Social life revolves around trusted circles, not public scenes. Schools are strong, civic engagement is deliberate, and community standards are quietly enforced by shared expectations rather than HOA theatrics. What makes Lake Sherwood especially powerful is how complete the ecosystem feels. Residents don't need to leave the area to access quality education, professional networks, or social capital. Children grow up seeing Black leadership as normal. Neighbors exchange contractor recommendations, business referrals, and college advice with ease. This is wealth that reproduces itself naturally because the environment is designed for continuity. In many ways, Lake Sherwood mirrors places like Woodmore in Maryland, not in flash, but in function. It represents a fully realized Black professional class operating at scale. The difference is Atlanta's flavor: warmer, quieter, less performative, and deeply rooted in land ownership. And there you go. These were the 10 richest Black neighborhoods in Atlanta. Which one of these places fascinated you the most? Let us know in the comments, and for more interesting peeks into wealth and luxury, take a look at the channel.